Morning, fowl players. Bruce here, and we're back at the Big Hole, which is kind of our mostly natural beaver-inspired waterfowl impoundment that we have here. That you see me working for the last several years. You saw us in the previous video when the guys were all out. We had a couple projects going on. Jim and Tim worked on plugging the hole in the beaver dam, which they appear to have done a pretty good job of. Tom and I worked on doing some clearing. We tried to disc. I wish I'd gotten some video of that because it was quite comical, especially when I roosted Tom with mud from the four-wheeler. But it was way too wet to work that ground over there. It still is, because later that day, and this is the reason why we didn't seed and fertilize at the same time. Later that day, the river backed up. About a foot of water came over the top of our dam and flooded this. Now, within 8 to 12 hours, it drained out and, was back high, if not dry, but it's still going to be too wet to do any kind of work with the four-wheeler. Disc is sitting over there covered in mud, but I'm probably not going to do that today. I was going to spray all this with Roundup, but I forgot to fill the tank up with water. So I think what I'm going to do today, I've got some more areas that I want to cut back. As you can see over here, I kind of cut some of this, what I believe is prostrate smartweed. I cut some back. I'm going to cut a little bit more back, rake it up some, pull that off to the side. There's a few areas over here I maybe want to hit as well. But once you get up on top of that, there still is a lot of soil visible. So I will hand broadcast. It might be possible for me to get out there with the seeder on the four-wheeler if I put it in high range and gun the gas to run it. But you know what? I spent a half an hour with the pressure washer cleaning the freaking four-wheeler because it was too muddy to put in my shop. I don't want to do that again right now. So I've got a bucket. I may just get a bucket full of seed and just start walking around and spreading it by hand. That really won't take too long here. Then I'll try to decide if I'm going to try to come back tomorrow morning. That seed will not have had a chance to sprout, obviously, and round up some of this. I did something similar last year. Yeah, last year I didn't work the ground at all. I just went through and I round up what had been growing of the previous couple of months in the spring. I threw seed on top of that. I didn't even cut it down, and it came up great. So, seed at a little bit higher rate when you do that, because you're going to lose some that just won't sprout, some that birds will eat, whatever. So I think what I'm going to do is a collection of things. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to cut out a little bit more of that vegetation over there. Rake up some of the piles and carry them off. And then kind of see where I'm at. I've got 100 pounds of fertilizer, 1717 I want to throw out. I've got 70 pounds of seed. I won't use all of it. 50 pounds of Chiwapa millet, which, as I mentioned, grows taller, has a stronger stalk, withstands the moisture later into the season, doesn't rot as quick as Japanese millet does. Then I have barnyard grass, which is a native millet. Again, being a natural plant, it has all those qualities as well, plus some good Pennsylvania smartweed, which I hope will get established in here and produce those nice, pretty pink flowers that make lots of good duck food. We'll see how that goes. I think we have another leak through our dam, and it looks like Mr. Beaver tried to help us with that. I've got some thoughts on what I'm going to do with that in the future that I'll share if I get around to this. So I may see what's going on there. I don't know if I did bring a shovel. We'll see what happens there. But job one, try to clear a little bit more with the old brush cutters, and then maybe put some seed. No, not maybe. Put some seed and some fertilizer down. So I'll set you guys down somewhere and you can see what's going on. Well, you can probably tell the machine's not working so great. It was doing that the other day. It was actually worse the other day. I thought it was bad gas. I poured the gas out, mixed up some fresh, and at least running the weed eater all day yesterday at home worked fine. I think this thing needs servicing. You're supposed to pack it with grease or something. I don't know. I've had it for 4 years, haven't done anything to it. I'm sure that is biting me in the butt right now. So, put that on the to-do list. But I don't need it much more today. It appears that it's okay. So, there's a pile here that I raked up the other day. I'm going to rake up the rest of it, drag it off to the side. And this really, I'll show you here in a minute, but this really is exposing a lot of soil. Throwing millet on mud is all you need to really do. It doesn't need a well-prepared seed bed at all. If you can throw it on a mud flat, it's going to grow well. So I'm going to do that. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, I think. So that on top of it will be perfect. I'm sure the barnyard grass and the smartweed don't need any more. So let's get the rake. That wasn't too bad. It didn't take me 10-15 minutes. I protected a couple spots because look at this. That's Japanese millet left over from the stuff I threw out last year after Debbie killed all the good stuff. I came through in July, tried to sow Japanese millet, and it grew some. I think army worms took most of it, but some of it grew, and some of it's coming back. So I decided to protect it. Do I really think it's going to help? No. It was just very hard for me to kill that millet. So I left it. I'll top sow it. I'll throw seed over it. I'll just try to avoid hitting it with Roundup tomorrow. And should be pretty good. Let me show you what I was talking about. So when this smartweed grows up, if you can get down to the bottom with your brush cutters for millet, it'll have no problem coming through that. And as fast as it grows, I think it'll outcompete that smartweed, which is actually a concern I have with my plan because I'm going to have smartweed mixed in with all of it. I guess if I had a better plan, I'd have a smartweed area and a millet area. I'm not gonna. Ooh, maybe I could just do smartweed right here. Huh, I'm gonna think on that. Rosie, quit rolling in that. Oh my God. Rosie, don't roll into beaver poop. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm gonna go walk around the other side, see what kind of condition it's in, if I need to do any more brush cutting, and I hope it don't, but let's go check it out. Oh, ugh. Yeah, we're not putting machinery in here. I can barely walk through it. Oh gosh. Okay, so this doesn't need any work. We have probably some kind of natural millets growing here. Heck, that for all I know, maybe that's some of the Chiwapa that actually survived. So I'm just gonna get out here and hand throw seed and fertilizer as much as I can today. I'll come here tomorrow and it's gonna be, stick with me for the next video because I think this is neat. So I can't drive on it. Even with the four-wheeler, you put 15 gallons of water, 15 times 8, 140 pounds on the back of the four-wheeler. I'm not getting through this, particularly up there. I bet I would struggle to walk up there right now. So I got 100 feet of 3/8 inch inside diameter hose for a sprayer. Just like the stuff, this sprayer has a wand that I can detach, and I can come up and park the four-wheeler right over here. Not only do I have 100 feet of hose, but the sprayer shoots another 20 feet. I'll mix that stuff up, spray what I can, call it good. I think that's gonna work, but that won't be in this video, so you're gonna have to stick with me. But I think that's all the hard work I need to do. I think I'm just gonna start throwing out seed. Let's get some seed in the ground. All right, so here's the real star of today's program. That is our Chiwapa millet. I'm trying to straighten out the label so you guys can see. I get this. It's the second year I bought it from the Specialty Seed Company. They might be the only people that sell this stuff. It's not super common. I don't know. I know some of our waterfowl impoundments down on the coast use it because the guy that planted it told me. That's where I got the idea. I don't know. If you know of somebody else that sells this, let me know. They're not paying me to say this. I'm paying them to say this. I get no special deals. They don't know who I am. I'm just another guy buying seed from them. I think shipped, I think it's 70 bucks plus, I think about 100 bucks to get it shipped, which really isn't too bad for 50 pounds of seed. You could probably, if you had a nice well-prepared seed bed, even if you had a drill, I bet you could do 2 or 3 acres. I don't know if I'm going to use all of it here or not. I shouldn't. because it'll keep till next year. So maybe I'll try to just use some of it and save the rest for next year, or maybe I'll use it all. But this is what we're planting: Chiwapa Millet Specialty Seed Company. Check them out. I ordered this stuff and it's at my house in a couple of days on the front porch. Get it early. Watch them. They will not, maybe, I don't know, just the timing, right? Like, you won't be able to get it in January, and you won't want to get it in July because it'll be too late. This is a 120-day growing plant, which is an advantage I'll try to touch on here in a minute. Yeah, watch their website. They have like a remind me button if it's not in stock. I'd check that. I think I have in the past checked that in January. I ordered it in, today's June, I ordered it in May, and they had it in stock. So keep that in mind, that this is not available 12 months out of the year from them. I don't know of another source. Be interested to hear it. I mentioned it's a 120-day plant, right? It takes 120 days from germination to maturity. That's actually a good thing, according to some people, and it seems to make sense to me. I'm not an expert. I'm not a farmer. But you know, you might think, well, I want a really fast-growing plant that gets up and matures quickly, and that will minimize the danger I might have from bad weather, a drought or a flood, those kinds of things. But the way I heard it explained was that a fast-growing plant, you know, in a plant, it goes through multiple stages in its life, from germination to maturity, and it needs different conditions depending on that. Like, early in its life cycle, it might need a lot more rain, whereas later in its life cycle, when it is more mature and its roots have established a little bit more, it can withstand, you know, some drier periods better. If you have a quick maturing plant like a Japanese millet, maybe that's not the best example because I think that stuff would grow on a cue ball, but a quicker growing plant goes through those stages much faster. So if it, you know, just kind of quickly gets past that stage, maybe where it needs more water, it needs more nutrients, and it doesn't get them, the plant's not going to grow as well. With a plant that takes longer to mature, it stays in each of those stages longer. So whereas maybe it might only be a week or so with a quicker growing plant, maybe a month, you know, this plant can wait and then get that water that it needs at the right time, and the plant grows well. That's how it was explained to me. You make your own call on that. Some of you, you know, like Ron up in Ohio, actually, I think he did grow Chiwapa millet last year with success. Ron, leave a comment. I know he wasn't happy with the ducks that showed up, but that happens. But I think it grew well for him. You know, maybe where you're at, you can't afford a longer growing period because you just don't have it. And I will come in January. I'll buy some Japanese millet seed, and I'll hit bare spots if I see any. That's what I'm going to do in the bean hole as well. So that's my thoughts on one of the other advantages I like about Chiwapa millet. Like I said, it's got a hardier stalk. It withstands a flood better, keeps food around longer than Japanese millet. So let's get this package open. Let's get a bucket full of seed, and let's start throwing it. All right, I got my bucket of Chiwapa millet seed. What's this, a 2-gallon bucket? I don't know. 5-gallon bucket would have been nice, but I didn't have one handy. I can't really show you the seed, but there's what Chiwapa millet seed looks like. I probably could not pick it out of a police lineup from Japanese millet or brown top, but there may be brown top. Anyway, I'm gonna hop across the ditch. I'm probably gonna start all the way up at the upper end, just so my trips back and forth get shorter. But I'm gonna head up there, throw some seed. I'll be back down here in a minute. One bucket. Two buckets. As you can see, I'm not doing anything special here. Getting a handful of it, scattering out like you might throw grass seed in your yard. You got chickens, maybe you feed chickens. I don't know, chickens. This is it. This is my fourth bucket. Well, I got starting to run low. I started at that end, about 3 buckets. I was afraid I'd run out, and if I wanted to leave a bare spot, I wanted here in front of the blind. I don't think I was going to. I'm going to have plenty. This is all there is to it. Nothing precise or scientific about it at all. Just throwing seed on the ground. Like I said, if you have a good muddy soil, which we have right now, it's gonna sprout. All right, so this is the 6 bucket. It's not as full as the rest. This is a 2.5 gallon. This is a 2.5 gallon bucket. I was filling it up to the top. Got 5 times 2.5, 12.5. Plus another gallon, so about 13-ish gallons, if you will, of millet seed in a 50-pound bag. I don't know if that's useful or not, but hey, that's what it is. So I'm gonna start here and start throwing it up towards the blind and just go as far as I can go. And then I got barnyard grass to throw in as well. So I'm just gonna smatter that about. And I think I am gonna do what I said. I think I'm gonna just put Smartweed over there, just so I can kind of see what it does. I think the millet might outcompete it. So anyway, let's throw the seed. Watch out, Rose. Watch out, girl. All right, now for the supporting characters of today's episode. Smartweed and barnyard grass. You notice, not much. This Smartweed seed is $22 a pound. I only got 3 pounds of it. I thought I'd gotten 5 of each. I only got 3 pounds of the Smartweed. So I am gonna throw only Smartweed in the area over there you saw me cutting a minute ago. I'm gonna try to not throw it all. Because I do want to take some at the upper end. You know, the hole drains here. So when water recedes, there's gonna be a little bit of a current moving this way. I'm thinking if I plant this up at the upper end, maybe some of those seeds will distribute down through here as this drains. You know, my long-term goal is to establish naturalized vegetation in here, and we don't reseed it every year. As I've mentioned multiple times, and I'm going to keep mentioning it because I don't want to be the reason somebody gets a big ticket from law enforcement, is what you cannot manipulate crops the year they were planted. So this year, we can't do anything. We can't cut it, we can't burn it. We could harvest it. I don't know how I would harvest any of this stuff in here, nor why I would, except maybe to save the seeds. But you can't cut it down, you can't knock it over, like you can't roll it, you can't do anything in the season in which you planted it. That's baiting. I know it's different for dove than it is for waterfowl, but you can't do it. However, in the second season, it is now referred to as naturalized. Even though it's not natural seed per se, the Smartweed and the barnyard grass is, Chiwapa is not, but it's still considered a naturalized plant at that point in time because it resprouted. You know, the plant grew, dropped seeds, ducks ate a bunch, we hope, but a lot are going to be left in the mud, and they're going to sprout next June when we draw water off of this. That's the plan. If we do that, we can manipulate. You can manipulate a naturalized plant. If you come into a swamp that you haven't ever planted anything, you can cut it down and spread those seeds. That is 100% legal. So you can do that also on naturalized stuff that you, like I said, the second season. I am not going to, however, cut it all down and try to scatter all the seed, because then I'm afraid a flood would come through and carry it all away. And also, too, if the stalks are growing up, it's a little bit harder for ducks to get to. That hurts my back. And I don't want them to just mow it down in a couple of weeks. Probably what we'll do is just come in here and weed eat an area right out here in the front. That's a little kill hole. It's open water for ducks to aim at. So I am going to take my little bag of Smartweed. Oh, I got this from Turner Seed. Again, they don't pay me, but if you guys want to do some kind of campaign, both these companies say, hey, you need to support old Bruce Fowl Play Outdoors, I'll take some free seed. Turner Seed, this was $22 a pound, like I said, for the Smartweed, and the barnyard grass is $10 a pound. These are expensive as opposed to, you know, a 50-pound bag for 70 bucks. Or actually, that may have only been 50 bucks. I think my brown top I bought locally was 70 bucks. Much difference in price between these seeds. I think because they're not a cultivated plant. They're just a naturally growing plant that they have to try to harvest. I can see how that would be difficult. So anyway, we're going to throw out this Smartweed seed. Turner Seed Company, Breckenridge, Texas. And this is Pennsylvania Smartweed. So, it didn't tell me a seeding rate. I'm just going to throw some. Throw it as far as I can get it. So, let's get this stuff out there. Alrighty. Here's our smartweed seed. I'm gonna pick you up and show this to you. It's not dissimilar in shape and size to millet, but it's red, obviously. It's probably a little smaller than millet. But you can see what we got going on right there with our smartweed seeds. So I'm gonna put that stuff out there. Cross my fingers. And to round out the trifecta of duck food goodness, we got our barnyard grass. So if you've ever seen millet before, it looks like millet. What do you think, Rosie? Looks like millet, and it is. It's just a wild millet, not a cultivated millet. So 10 pounds of that, 50 pounds of, I threw out all the Chiwapa, 50 pounds of that, and 3 pounds of smartweed. Whew, I'm getting tired. I did half of it back there in that area that is minimally clear, but it gets good sunlight. And did half of it all the way back in the back, which the lush green stuff there is the smartweed that's already growing here. So we're going to see. Even on this side, it's almost just the Pennsylvania smartweed because I ran out of millet going back there. So did I seed the millet at too high of a rate? Yeah, probably, but just throwing it on the ground, like I said, you're going to lose some. So I have a little bit, probably about 3 gallons, 10 pounds makes up about 3 gallons of this stuff because I got a little left in my bag. So I'm just going to walk down through here and just kind of scatter it aimlessly. And then we'll have both millets growing out there. So hope I haven't gone too crazy on the seeding rate. But like I said, I know I'm going to lose some. So let me put you down and get to it. All right, we're planted. That's 50 pounds of Chiwapa millet, 10 pounds of barnyard grass, a wild millet, and 3 pounds of Pennsylvania smartweed. That's a lot of seed for a small area, but like I said a couple times, I'm going to lose a bunch. I know birds are going to come in here and start picking me clean. I didn't get the fertilizer out today. I got some stuff I got to do back at the house. So that doesn't have to go down today. If I get that in the next week, I'll be fine. I suspect this soil's pretty rich, even though I'm beginning to think it's pretty heavy in clay. These areas I'm walking through right here are packed down pretty tightly, so I don't know, we'll see. But that's what it looks like now. I'll come out here tomorrow. I'm going to spray. I don't think there's any problems with spraying right after seeding. I know I sprayed and seeded in the same day last year, and that stuff did great. It did just as well as a prepared seed bed. So I'm sure I'll be fine. I will research that a little bit tonight just to make sure. I kind of, so for the most part, I threw Chiwapa everywhere. I threw the barnyard grass just kind of out through here. I hit this is going to be a higher concentration of barnyard grass than this part because I was running low on Chiwapa when I got to that, and back up there wasn't hardly any. So that'll be cool to see. Maybe more barnyard grass, more of the other. It's going to be some of both everywhere. And like I said back there, I only threw smartweed, even though we have some volunteer Japanese millet that actually, you know what it's probably going to do? If it does anything, it won't feed a duck this year. If it does anything, that'll mature, it'll shatter, the seed will fall down, and about July 15, it'll start growing again. No complaints there. I'll take it. So that's what we got going on for today. That's it. I'm going to clean up my toys and head back to the house, take care of a few other things. Probably come out tomorrow. It's supposed to rain, maybe. I have to watch the forecast. If I don't spray tomorrow, I'm not gonna. So maybe I'll get up at the crack of dawn and try to beat the rain. I get that. I think it only takes a few hours for that glyphosate to be rain fast. So I'll spray that and wait for the rain. So that's it for today. Follow along. I will be keeping tabs on this and sharing it with you guys to see how this plan does for this year. Long-term plan is to maybe not seed every year. More of a moist soil management plan. If it looks like we get great seed production this year, if something happens and it's bust and we don't get seeds, then we'll replant next year. But if it looks like we get great seed production this year, we'll leave it. We'll try to leave water on here till the 1st of June. Let ducks continue to come in here and see what's going on. And then we'll drain it 1st of June and see what grows, right? Should be more of this stuff growing again. And if that does well, we'll do it again. And then maybe in the 3rd year, you do need to disturb soil on a regular basis. I think every 3 or 4 years, you need to disturb soil, even if you're not replanting with a moist soil management plan. Those seeds will get packed into the seed bed, And you go through and disturb it, and that brings them to the surface where they can get some warmth and sunlight, and they'll start growing again. And buckbrush is going to be an ongoing problem. It's really coming back strong here behind you, so maybe we'll do some spot treatments. I hope cocklebur is not a problem. One of the bags of corn I threw out after the season last year had a bunch of cocklebur. I'm not seeing it grow yet, so maybe being in the water killed those seeds. Or maybe it's just too wet for that stuff to grow. I know it grows really well in our dove field at the top of the hill. So if it does, here's the thing. With smartweed in there, I can't use 2,4-D. 2,4-D will kill smartweed. So maybe if I get cocklebur, I'll come in here with some spot treatments, like a little squirt bottle even, and just hit those plants individually, because I do not want cocklebur in here. Maybe it's just too wet for it. Cross fingers that's the case. So anywho, I'm out of here. I got to pack up. We got to head back to the house. Sounds like somebody just pulled up to the parking area. I don't know. I'm out of here. That's it for today. Thanks for joining. Keep watching. Hit the subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and follow us along. And as always, you know me, I'm Bruce. And that stuff over there is Foul Play Outdoors.